What's up, guys? Here we go. Another live cast. Man, we've been on the road traveling. We're leaving again tomorrow for Murray, South Carolina, and the Lake Murray in South Carolina, the Pro Circuit event. Straight from there to Tyler, Texas for stage 3 of the Bass Pro Tour. So the years, it's flying by. It's pretty exciting. We got a lot of stuff going on. But tonight we got a really special guest. Bill Siemantel is here to talk about the BBZ Junior Championship, which is something I just kind of found out a few days ago. I've known Bill a long time. So without any further ado, we're going to bring Bill on here and let him get to talking. What's up, Bill?
Did you hear a couple background noises? I had to start shutting down a bunch of tabs. I was watching us in stereo for a second.
Yeah, it'll make that thing buzz and make all sorts of crazy noises. But man, I'm excited to have you on. We've been friends a long time. You got quite a history in catching giant bass. West Coast guy.
Yeah.
Maybe if we have time, we'll get to talking about that a little bit. But right now, I want to talk about this Junior World Championship and what you have going on.
Oh, it's a lot of passion going on. A lot of sleepless nights. No. A few years ago, I was crazy enough to came up with the idea to try to do something for the youth out there and really give back to grassroots anglers, the anglers that are in that 13 to 19-year-old range. And, it comes from something a long time ago. And we've talked about this, Ricky and I go way, way back doing press releases and, sports shows and everything for many years. But a long time ago, there's a tournament called the Big Bass World Championship, and I participated in, the early 90s all the way up to 2000. And I remember my last tournament I fished when I won for California. I was in Table Rock, and I said if I ever had a chance, I want to try to do this for the youth. And fast forward so many years, and 2018, at the last part of 2018, I pulled the trigger, and it's been a really hard road trying to put this together with what we have and who we have with us. But it's been pretty incredible. So what we're doing is we're trying to open up the doors to a lot of grassroots anglers that will never have an opportunity to be able to fish on a national platform. And we're talking they can compete like a pro, on the weekend, after schoolwork, during the week, vacation, pre-fish. Just give more opportunities. And the other thing is I wanted to look at the anglers that are out there already fishing, like, the BASS trails and stuff, and the high school and the college, is I just wanted to give them another, basically it's a big fish option. They're out there pre-fishing. And Ricky, we talked about this many times on film when we filmed up there at Lanier, that a lot of times you go out there pre-fishing and you're doing stuff, to promote, and you catch that big fish. And it's great. It's a great photo and stuff, but I wanted to give anglers more opportunities. So the anglers that are competing in tournaments already, anytime, pre-fish, during a tournament, fun fishing, they put a limit together and they have a shot at winning something truly spectacular. And then for all the other kids that get turned away, Ricky, that's the biggest thing. Is the more I read into this and find out the numbers of youth from that 13 to say 19, financially, we're very lucky. Being a fireman, I grew up my whole life as a fireman, and I found a career that I wanted to look to be able to financially be able to enjoy all of my sports, hunting and fishing with my dad, and, taking trips and traveling and stuff and fishing tournaments. And there's some kids out there right now that just do not have that opportunity. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to open those doors, and it's pretty cool. Like I said, for $25 to enter for a state to fish for 7 months, and you go out there fish anytime and put a limit together. If you catch the biggest limit for your state, you come back to the championship, the world finals. The last 2 years, with great help from unbelievable sponsors. This year, a title sponsor is Bass Cat. They've been a part of this for the last 2 years. Billy Chapman Jr., Anglers Inn International. Bassmasters has been presenting sponsor for the last couple of years. We've been able to give back almost $700,000, and that's in Bethel University scholarships, trips to El Salto, trips to the Amazon, products galore from some of the top brands, sponsors within the industry. And like I said, it's giving an opportunity to the youth that they might never see at such a minimal entry to go out there and start having fun. And we're changing lives, not just for the youth, but for the families too. We're getting the families back involved.
Right, Bill. And I know one thing that we've talked about, and, I've got a 25-year-old and a 15-year-old, so I've kind of been through this youth fishing thing, is the problem with getting boat captains. It's always an issue. And I get it, man. A guy's got got his own agenda with fishing his tournaments. It's hard to set a whole day out to go, caddy two young fishermen around. But I can tell you from experience, I just did one this past weekend with my 15-year-old, and he fished actually 2 high school tournaments in a row. And man, to watch those kids, it's amazing. I will tell anybody that has a bass boat, you need to volunteer and do some of these things because it's so much fun. But with you and the program you have going on, it really doesn't matter if they have a boat or not, right?
No, and I'm going to throw this right out there. The last 2 years, I've been very fortunate with people helping. Big shout out goes out to Tony McCalmont and his wife Melissa. So Tony lives up in Idaho. We had both years up there at Billy Chapman's place, and Tony was able to. We were able to put together some volunteer boat captains. And what you're saying right there, it is so incredible to hear the story from the boat captains coming back at the end of the day, going, "Well, we're seeing anglers from across the U.S., not just from Idaho. We're seeing anglers from New York and Florida and Connecticut, and New Hampshire. They're coming and fishing our water, and we get to watch them go out there and swing for the fences for up to $90,000 for first place. And it is so crazy that the way we're trying to set up this program to make a lifetime of memories within this event, especially not just for the kids and the parents and for the boat captains. So we have that all set up. And yeah, absolutely. It comes down to there's a lot of kids out there that will not have an opportunity, or other people have things going on in life, especially like if I'm fishing big tournaments, I'm not able to be around to volunteer to be a boat captain because I just have so much other stuff on my plate. So that was one of the things, is being able to put together a tournament that all these kids, the ones that go up to the high school coaches and go, "We love bass fishing. I mean, this is our passion. Can we be part of the team?" And when the coach looks at them, the first thing they go is, "Hey, do you have a bass boat? Because you need to have a bass boat to participate, to be a part of our team." And they get turned around because they don't. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to open up the door for those coaches across the U.S. and all high school, college, any age group, that they could still put a team together. And those kids could go out and fish off the shore and fish out of kayaks and fish out of float tubes and compete, and still compete for prizes just as big, or if not bigger, than any other tournament than the other kids are fishing for. So yeah, it's just changing lives. And it's cool when you see a kid like Nicholas up in Massachusetts, and last year he made it to the championship, and his mom goes, "The kid doesn't have a boat. He gets on a bicycle and he drives 10 miles down a road to find a pond to fish out of to qualify." I mean, that's the days I grew up. We fished out of a 12-foot Valco. And if my dad wasn't around, I was down walking around the shoreline at Cass Stake, throwing baits, trying to catch big fish,
Right. And I mean, that's really what it's all about, is getting these kids involved with something that will keep them away from other things, right? If the kid's got a passion for fishing, I'm pretty much going to guarantee you that they won't get in any kind of trouble, unless maybe it's a trespassing charge or something like that. But
which I never got, because I've been in the fire department. I keep telling these kids, but I mean, honestly, they're not just, the only time they're on the internet is when they're looking at videos about fishing.
Right.
And most of them, their parents are pretty, you're surprised talking to the parents that the kids love fishing. They're so supportive and they're so disciplined. A lot of these kids, when you look at them, even the ones you're like your kids, you start getting 16, 17-year-olds out there that know how to run a bass boat, or know the responsibility of taking care of their partner because they're,
right.
like a co-captain. There's so many responsibilities you put at them at a young age that is good for life and building experiences to be a better person. And you don't see very many kids stray down a different path when they have the passion for the outdoors, and it's hunting or fishing,
I agree, Bill. It's probably more important nowadays than ever to get the kids involved in this stuff, because it actually gives them something. And, you know, for most kids, they're not going to be a world-class athlete. But, you know, in this sport, it doesn't matter if you're 4 foot or 8 foot, you can be the best at it. And I mean, I think that's what, you know, what I've enjoyed so much over the years is just watching these kids that he's not going to be a quarterback of a football team or a starting pitcher on a baseball team. No. But dang, he can catch a bass, you know, and that it gives everybody a fair shot. And with what you're doing, it doesn't really matter how much money the kid's family has. If he can do it from the bank, that's, you know, that's a huge deal. I mean, to me, I think it's amazing what you got going on.
Yeah,
Bill, how about talking a little bit about how somebody would go get signed up for this thing?
Super easy. So I got to give some shout outs. First of all, mind you, I was doing this the last couple of years crazy with like 5 spreadsheets and Google Docs, and there's a lot on my plate. I'll just put it that way. But the easiest thing is going over to bbzworld.com or typing in fishing chaos. So I got to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, Chad Hoover, who runs Kayak Bass Fishing. And he called me up literally a month and a half ago and goes, Bill, I've been down this road. You're going to give yourself a heart attack. You don't have enough time in the day to do what you're doing. And I told him I was right. You know, he was right. And he set me up with the guys over at Fishing Chaos. So in the last 3 weeks, about a month right now, we have switched everything over to the Fishing Chaos app. So you can go to your Android or your iPhone app store, download Fishing Chaos. You're going to scroll to the bottom of the page and you're going to see the Big Bass Zone Junior Championship presented by Bassmasters and, you know, title sponsored by Bass Cat. And you can click on it and just enter. It's $28 with all the stuff for one state. It's $53 for the whole U.S. They get to fish for another 4 months, which half the U.S. is still just coming out of hard water. So there is a lot of time to go out there and fish, and you put your biggest 5 fish together and you support it. And here's the cool thing about this, Ricky. Here's what people don't understand what I'm trying to do. With Bassmasters coming on and supporting this and stuff, they get a year subscription to Bassmaster Magazine. So these anglers, when they sign up for a state, they're basically buying a year subscription to Bassmaster Magazine, and they're getting the tournament for free. I mean,
right?
That is crazy. They get to compete now. They can get their friends out. They could sign up, and then they just go. They swing for the fences. And the crazy thing is watching this the last few years. You know how we're talking about opening the doors for the youth and everything, and watching them get excited and build in the future. What I'm seeing that I guarantee you, I can name 20 parents right now, is I'm watching the youth now, especially after COVID and everything we've gone through and being locked down with the families, and the outdoors is the best thing it could ever have to try not to get too stir crazy. But I'm watching the youth actually put passion back into the parents, and I'm watching parents getting involved in fishing more than I've ever seen. I'm watching, you know, Brock over there in Kansas. He started, he qualified. He was put on the YOLO Tech team from fishing this tournament. Christian came out. Pretty awesome. And next thing you know, after he fished this tournament, he goes back home and they buy a beater boat and they spend the wintertime scraping down the boat and dialing this boat in so they could go out there and start fishing tournaments. And that was passion from the kids upswung back into the family unit, where the families are a part of it. And that's the really special thing about what we're trying to do in this tournament is I'm all about the kids, but I'm really about the family unit, and you can't have one without the other. And the cool thing is I'm seeing it sitting back in my position. I get to see it going both ways. And that is pretty damn awesome. Now, you know, the prizes and the sponsorship, we have some sponsors that none of this could have happened. I mean, some of the stuff we're doing, Ricky, with the sponsors, you know, you got to give out, you know, we got a $35,000 Bass Cat boat, that Bass Cat title sponsor for a 13 to 19-year-old. And the last year we had a 16-year-old Carter Dorn who won from Nevada, $35,000 Bass Cat. I mean, who hears that? He had a $30,000 scholarship to Bethel University. He gets to go fishing with Joe Thomas to Billy Chapman's Anglers Inn International at Lake El Salto. He gets to go down there and fish with Joe Thomas on the Outdoor Channel for Steel Reel in the Outdoors. Like, that was just for first place. Mercury's on board with all their product. We have some great stuff this year again from Mercury. Motor Guide has been such a huge part of this thing, and they got tours like our prizes this year just for the boat has a tour on it, but I have 4 more 36-volt tours for prizes. So they're on board. Power Pole jumped on board. Lowrance, St. Croix, KBF, Tackle Direct, which was huge this year. Ryan over at Tackle Direct said, "Hey, Bill, what you're doing for the youth is what we're about." And they jumped on as one of the title sponsors. So without sponsors like that, plus everything we talked about with the state sponsors, I'm juggling a lot of stuff. But the cool thing is everybody's coming together now for the cause, and the cause is for the youth and the families. But I mean, even the smaller sponsors that are doing a lot, Marici Sunglasses, Lithium Pros, Rugged Shark, Rattle Trap, APCO, we got Bucket Mouth Brands. They're coming in and they're going to do stuff for the kids when they start catching big fish. John's going to start sending them some really cool product. KBF, Chad Hoover over there, he's going to start, he's going to start a high school tournament for kayakers to open up doors for kids that can't afford the bigger stuff, to put more opportunities out there. So there's a lot of stuff juggling, but the cool thing is it's all coming in one place, and that's basically to help the kids. And it's a cool thing. I could just survive now. I just need a little bit more time in the day to make it happen.
I'm glad that you're doing it, Bill, and I'm glad that Bass 365 can jump on board, and we'll support you guys however you need, whenever you need it. Again, I've been around this for the youth stuff. I've been around for a long time. I've seen the struggles that these kids and boat captains, and tournament directors go through. And I really do think that this is a platform that, that can work for any kid, be it, an inner city kid or, any kid anywhere could absolutely make this.
Can you just imagine inner city kids that, you always want to give somebody a hand. You want them to work hard to build their future and be responsible and everything else. And man, the stories that are going to come out with kids fishing farm ponds and around the golf course ponds and, just walking down the lake and compete. And they get to the situation where they come to the championship and we're filming it. There's a Bassmaster Live weigh-in. We had 50,000 parents watch the kids last year walk through the stage.
Oh, wow.
You don't think that's going to change their lives? And here's the biggest thing, Ricky. Everybody keeps saying, "Hey, Bill, what's this about? Like, what's your big goal?" And I don't want to be one of like the pretty models walking down like they want to change the world. Like, nobody can change the world. And
Bill, wait. You'll never be a pretty model. I'm just saying that.
I was just trying to paint a picture. Sometimes
we just teamed up with David Wrigley, a new guy over on the Toyota series. He's a model. Bill, you definitely. Okay.
I might be a model for Potato Man or Potato Head. But what I was going to say is the biggest thing is you can't change the world by helping one person. I keep telling that, but you could change the world for that one person.
Sure.
That's the motto of what we're trying to do is if you do something good for one person, it's going to start spreading. It's going to get bigger, and like I said, if it's a child that you're doing that to, and you build more passion within the fishing industry with the family and his sisters and his friends and his dad and his mom gets back, fishing, and they go, "Man, I haven't fished since I fished with my grandpa. Let me pull the old rods out of the attic," and they're out there and they're boat captains and they're watching this. There's memories and there's stuff going on that's bigger than all of us, and it starts with just one person.
Yeah, and I mean, I can tell you from my experience, I've always loved to fish, and the experiences that I've had with my 2 boys, I've got 5 kids, and 2 of them are fishermen. It's life-changing. It's absolutely life-changing, the stuff that I've seen them accomplish and go through. And it's not all about winning. It's about, learning to lose too, because we struggle with that. If a person comes into a tournament atmosphere and feels like I'm going to win every tournament, they're going to get a rude awakening really quick. But I think it teaches them to be responsible individuals as well, right?
It's weird that you said that. I got to bring up last year's champion, Carter Dorn from Nevada. He qualified the year before, and he came up to Idaho Mind you, we got lucky that we got to fish the tournament, but it was cold, rainy. I think there might have been a little snow on the decks too of the boats. And I remember going by and filming Carter, and Carter from Nevada, and he's up there and it's 37-degree temperature. And this kid, 15-year-old, and he was miserable. We went by and he's like, he never got bit. I don't even think he got his line in the water. He lost so gracefully. And it was weird that he qualified again for Nevada this year or last year. He came back to the championship rookie. And here's the cool thing is he won the tournament. And when we got behind the stage and filmed him, he says, I had the worst tournament ever last year. And I went home and I went to work and I did my research and I fished harder and I watched more videos and I became better at my craft. And next thing you know, here's a 16-year-old walking away with almost $75,000 worth of products. Yeah, redemption. I see Carter. He did unbelievable. And then here, it's not icing on the cake. These kids, they deserve it. Doing that, he represents himself well. He goes to school. He's cleaning up. He's doing all this other stuff. And then he just gets nominated for the All-American for Bassmasters.
Oh, wow.
So here's a 16-year-old that has everything in front of him, but he's humble enough to know that he had to work hard to get it. And those are the kids that you want to see, that they're going to be the next, you don't want to say idols, but they're going to be the next ambassadors within the sport that the other youth are going to look at too and say, Carter was 15 and 16 when he did this. I can do this. There's these goals that kids could see and relate to. And I want the parents to say the same thing. As I want the parents going, like you called me up today, go, Bill, I got a 15-year-old. He's signing up this weekend.
That's right.
Holy cow. And that's going to be more enjoyment for the family, because now you get to watch this thing go down, and he's competing against every kid. You guys are in Virginia, right?
Virginia, right.
Yeah. So if he does one state, he fishes all of Virginia. If he does 50, you guys are in that triangle back there where you could fish 4 or 5 different states and win literally 4 or 5 states.
The problem there is, Bill, I would be traveling more than I travel now. And, we've got a lot of new viewers on here tonight. I own Bass 365. I travel to all the MLF Pro Circuit events and all the MLF Bass Pro Tour events. So we're on the road a lot. I don't need a kid wanting me to take them to North Carolina, South Carolina, Delaware. Yeah. So you can only register for one state if you live in my house and you're in Virginia. Just saying.
And here's the interesting thing. So I want to throw, and this goes to, like I said, Tony and all the volunteer boaters the last few years that did such an unbelievable job for this event. I mean, there's a lot of people behind the scenes and in front that really make a difference. I'm really looking at, I try to look at every aspect of it. Like, I'm hands-on. I have 20 different hats every day. And the last couple of years, and I don't know if you've seen this yet, but I've seen what the volunteer boaters do. They give their time and dedication, everything. So this year we're going to Missouri, Branson, for the World Finals. And the captains show up Friday. So I'm old school fireman, safety, everything else. So the captains have to meet the parents. We do the boat drawings. We do all this stuff Friday night. State winners get these big prizes. Everything's cool. So it's basically a day and a half for these boaters to volunteer.
Right.
I pulled permits already this year. So it's going to be an appreciation for the boaters, the volunteers. They're going head to head. They have their own tournament Sunday. So I'm actually giving them a free entry to a tournament. I'm going to scrape some of my money together and see if I can put like $5,000 in a pot and divide it up. And then it's like you're sitting in the boat and I see the same thing. Everybody's sitting there watching these kids swing. And, it's like the dads on the side of the soccer that they're like, they want to be, I could do better than that. Well, I'm putting the hammer down. They're going to have a time to show, because some of those parents and those boat captains that watch the kids Saturday, they better do good Sunday, because the kids are going to rip them, because they're going to have their own tournament this year.
Right. So let me ask you this: how would if somebody's interested in being a boat captain there, how would they go about getting the information?
Just call me, and here's how it works, and it's really cool. So we have it. I have it just like what we did back in the day with Bassmasters on pro in the boat, and with youth, they have a captain to drive the boat and everything. So volunteer boaters, any angler that wins a state if they win a state and their parents, if their dad or coach or something has a boat, they're allowed to bring that boat as long as it's safety qualified, insurance and everything else and working. They get to bring that boat to the finals and fish out of it. And that coach or parent can be the boat captain for that day.
Oh,
so
wow.
they'll have a once in a lifetime experience. Once we get all them dialed in, we have a group of volunteers. I've already heard from Tony that there's 2 or 3 guys from Idaho that are already willing to drive from Idaho to Branson to be a boat captain for one day. That's how crazy this thing is. So that's how it works. And like we're in Idaho the last few years. We had Candidos down there in New Mexico. They called up, and the first year is so funny. Is, hey, Bill, we're going to qualify. We're going to win. I'm going to bring my boat. And I say, hey, how's your boat? And they go, well, there's some issues. Sometimes it kind of doesn't run well, so we got to go back and pump the fuel bulb. I said, okay, you could drive from New Mexico out of Idaho. You can fish any lake you want, but when you're here, you're going to fish out of another boat because I'm not going to put that safety factor on anybody.
Right.
2 months later, they bought a brand new Skeeter. They drove from New Mexico to Idaho the last 2 years. So and New Jersey, we have, Nicholas Della Porta, who qualified last year. Him and his dad drove from New Jersey to Idaho. This is a little bit bigger. I know we haven't got the word out yet because, like I said, it's still we're still in infant stage for the advertisement and the press because I'm doing everything by sweat equity. But Ricky, there's some things here that is happening that is truly mind-boggling if you get to see behind the scenes. It's pretty cool.
I totally understand it, and I get what you're saying about the boat captains wanting to be involved after they've done it once. And again, I go back to all the people that will watch this video. Even if you don't have a kid and you can get a club or a federation, youth federation deal near you, go boat captain. I mean, it really is. It's a day that honestly you won't ever forget. And you may change a kid's life. I mean, you may absolutely do that. Yeah. I think that we need a lot more of that. And I will tell you now, as I sit here, Bill, so it'll be recorded. When it comes down to it, I'd love to be at the event. If you need a boat captain, let me know. I don't know if I'll be able to drag a boat all the way from Virginia, but I'm sure we can work something out. I'd love to be a part of it on that level as well. I'm planning on being there.
If your son starts hearing some big fish and he qualifies, and here's how it qualifies: largest largemouth, largest smallmouth in this tournament, they win their own category. They win the over heavyweight champion. Then any angler with the largest 5 fish limit in every state, they have a chance to go. If they can't make it, I take second place. If they can't make it, I take third. Once all first place anglers are confirmed to go, then we do a second chance draw for second place, and we do 2 of them this year. But I want to throw something at the boat captains, and I want to make sure that people understand this. The boat captains, they're seeing something really special, right, Ricky? You're getting out there and being a part of this on a different level. If you look at numbers of, say, like high schoolers, I'm going to throw some stats out there. There's, say, 60-something thousand high school anglers fishing tournaments, clubs right now through the schools. There's hundreds of thousands of kids that literally cannot be a part of this, right? I'm going to throw a challenge out. Any parent or any school out there that has a coach, that if they turn away 5, 10, 15 kids that want to be fishermen, they want to show the passion, and they could do the same thing. They don't have to be a captain inside a boat. They could be a captain on a shore. They can take a couple kids down, part of the club, let them go to any lake, fish off the dock, show them how to put on a Texas rig worm or flip a jig, catch some fish, and literally take a length and girth measurement right there on the shore. And they're literally being a boat captain. They're being an ambassador to the youth, helping them build our industry, build our sport, and build both of their loves and passion for this thing. So I definitely I want to make sure that people don't think it's just about boat captains. It's still about the kids. But I bet you there's a ton of parents out there that would love to get 10 kids together and say, we're building our own little team, and we're gonna win the state, and we're gonna go to the championship, and you're gonna have a boat by next year. You're gonna have a bass cat boat. So,
Bill, here's a question we need to get. There's several of them, but this one just popped up, and I want to get to it real quick, just so you can answer it, and I know we've got it answered. See it on there? Do you
Oh,
need to own a boat for the championship?
heck no. You qualify, and our team, Tony McCalmont, Melissa, myself, Bascat, Rick Pierce, we're already working with people over at Branson. We're definitely going to have the boat series. Basically, you're going to fly in. We're going to put you up in a room. We're going to pay for your 2 dinners. We're going to have everything set up, and you're going to be able to walk down and get in a boat Saturday morning and go fish for 8 hours head-to-head against another angler in the U.S. in a true national, competition. So it's all going to be taken care of. Everything. We're going to take care of everything we can on our side.
Right. All right. So how about this one right here?
Okay, anybody buy that hat? These are special hats. I'm going to tell you something. I shouldn't even. I'm broke. I want to buy some hats. I've been wearing this hat for like a year now, trying to keep washing it to get the sweat stains off of it. So I'm trying to get the funding to see if I could buy some more hats. I gave everything I had last year. Anything that had BBZ on it last year, I gave to all the kids at the finals. So I'm working. If I could find a source for finances coming in, I'll buy some hats. But everything that's coming in right now is all going to the kids for the tournament.
Bill, I think I can help you with that in a way that we can talk about off the air.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely on board with that. That brand's been around as long as I can remember. You're a lot older than I am, so it's probably been around longer than that. But
and I want everybody to know too, like Ricky and I go, I can't shoot just with the Spro thing, 10, 15 years, maybe more.
Probably at least 10, maybe 15 for sure.
Yeah. So the cool thing about what Ricky brings to the table and what we're doing is we're still both hardcore fishermen. And I remember talking to Ricky at Table Rock 10 years ago during a press conference about a float fly and, about catching big fish on that little teeny jig. And it's really interesting because it goes both ways. Here's Ricky in the back with another camera guy, and we get to go out and fish as the pros for Spro, and they don't even get to touch a rod for 2 or 3 days, but they get to, talk fishing. And they were doing nothing different than being a boat captain for the youth, watching everybody else fish while they get the content and the information to give back to you guys so you guys learn more. So it's all a big round circle. That's kind of fun, but it's amazing how long we've been in the game there, Ricky.
Right. So, hey, here's a good question from Will Hadley. He's actually using his mother's account.
Yeah, Will's in the tournament. He's been sending in fish. What do we got, Will?
Let me see if I lost it, but here you go.
Can I bring a brand new 17.5 Crestliner for the tournament? So if you have a boat, and if you qualify for your state, what we do is Melissa and Tony will reach out to you, and then we have some limitations depending on the water. If it's big water, last year we had nothing under 19 foot for the Priest River because such big water. We don't want that situation where you're in a smaller capsule. And also you're going to have 3 people in the boat. So it's definitely a possibility. We will look at all that. And the biggest thing is safety equipment, making sure it's up to date. If it meets all those parameters, we'll definitely consider that. But no matter what, you'll have a boat to fish out of.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just so many comments on here, Bill, about people saying they love what you're doing and how great it is. And, I can't
it's the coffee, the 24-hour coffee that keeps me going.
Right.
And
I've been like that as long as I've known you, though. I mean, just, a hustler and, knowing what's going on and doing the right thing, which I think means a lot in today's times.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is.
And I want to, and I know I don't know how many people are watching or anything, but I have a lot of support from the parents and stuff. And the biggest thing is still, if anybody understood it, and I think you understood it today, and so you guys understand, I've been working so hard on the, us as the BBZ and this tournament and everything else. You learned about it today, Ricky,
right.
And I've been doing this for 2.5 years. So it's just, I don't have the finances, and I'll be honest with you. Years ago, when Ricky and I did this 10, 15 years ago, when the internet was new and people were starving for content and everything, you can get your word out there really quick and build something special. Well, we have something special. Now it's just trying to get it to the youth and parents. And when they see it, they love it. Like Ricky called me up today and said, holy cow, we need to talk about this today.
Yeah, we do.
and I'm getting my kids signed up for this weekend because where have you been? And I go, I've been here in my office for 24 hours for three days. Let's see. I was looking at the checklist and it says that 3 fish have to be from public water. When does that start? So that started for the tournament. So that changed, I think in March, and we changed it. So what we're trying to do is we went to a 5 fish limit, Ricky. It was a 1 fish, big fish overall for the states.
Right.
Reached out to a lot of kids, the parents, the last 2 years. And what we found out that a lot of kids were very fortunate and might have a private pond that have 1 big fish, say in Virginia.
Right.
And they do it. And then what happens is nobody wants to play because they don't think they have a chance. The other thing is I wanted to make sure that this wasn't about just a kid going out and catching 1 big fish. This is about passion. The anglers, sure. And what we always talked about, time on the water. The kids that put the time on the water, that figure out their sport and their passion and learn how to target bigger fish, they're going to be the next super pros for Bassmasters. They're going to be the new classic winners. It's like your 2 sons that are just hardcore. They're putting the time in the water. So we changed that. What I wanted to do is I still didn't want to give that bonus to anglers that have all the private water. So if you're in Virginia, say, and you have a friend that has 5 ponds with big bass in it,
right?
You only allowed 2 fish. You still got to catch the fish. You're only allowed 2 fish out of that land.
Right.
You do not bring 3 fish in because I want those kids to move and go to public water. I want them to travel. I want them to do what everybody does when they go out fishing, is being able to become versed and actually get on the road and figure out new, don't be a zip code angler, basically, right. Fishing pond. And the other thing is I don't want a small pond, Ricky, that it's 100 acres and the kid throws out and catches the same 7-pounder 5 times. So I changed some rules. So you're allowed 2 fish in a private pond in that land. Then you're going to have to go somewhere else. The Fishing Chaos app is so easy now. The kids know exactly where all their fish are caught from. They can still fish that pond. And if they call a fish, they go in, they delete the smaller one from that pond, and they put the bigger one in. So I think we have the app that is absolutely incredible because it's the first app for length and girth out there. But when you fish private and public ponds, here's private, so everybody knows this, because I had a lot of kids call me the last few days. If you can get a ticket, if you're the only one that gets to fish it and no one else gets to fish it, that's a private pond. It's not like if you sneak in somewhere and you're like, hey, but everybody, it's a public water. But if you're sneaking in a place where I would get a ticket and I would get trespassing charges, you better not get caught, because I'm going to bring the hammer down on you, because that's just the way I was raised. Right. I never do that. And being in the fire department, I'm looked at when nobody's watching. And I want the kids to understand that everybody's always watching. So as long as you know that and you're doing the right things, you're good to go. So
that's the biggest thing with anything, this included, but anything in life. If I've got a couple daughters that play softball, and I'm like, what you have to worry about is when you're at the mall, because that coach that may be looking at you, that's when they're going to see you at your worst. And that's, so the same with fishing is, when you're on the water, how you act is one way, but it's that guy that sees you walk into the Wawa that may just be that guy. So you always have to be on your A game.
Right. And the thing is, if I could give a word of advice for future anglers, for future employees for life, social media is a curse is if you don't understand what it's truly for. And if these kids, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give them an opportunity to have ethics, responsibility, and know that no matter nobody's watching them, that they're always trying to do the right thing. Those are also going to be the anglers that don't post stupid stuff on social media, that don't do something now when they're 13 to 18. And when they look for that life-changing job that gives them medical, future, retirement, takes care of their family, takes care of their kids, and a boss opens it up, the first thing everybody looks at now is social media. And if you go to social media and you go, oh my gosh, that's not good.
Right.
They're going to probably miss out on other. So I'm behind the scenes. I'm trying to do more than a lot of people are even thinking about, because that's just the way I was raised. I'm trying to give them a platform to build their career, not just in catching a fish for a tournament, but for a career in the fishing industry that could be a filmer, photographer, social media poster, Bass Pro.
or any job, honestly. I mean, any job. You're teaching groundwork that will help them down the road. Now, there's another question on here, and I'm gonna put it up, and I want you to read it, and then I want you to let me answer it.
Oh gosh,
I think I know the answer.
Okay, what is the criteria for a private lake? Is it a community lake that only each woman can? Oh, okay. I'll let you answer that.
So I would say that if Bill goes there and goes fishing and can get a ticket, it's a private lake. So I would say a HOA is definitely a private body of water, because I can't go there and you can't go there.
Yeah, and actually, it was brought up, one of the ones, and he's probably watching right now. And so you guys know, I have talked to everybody who's called me, texted me, emailed me. I've responded to everybody. I have not dropped a call. And I had Canyon Hunter, or Hunter Canyon, called me, and he's a California kid, and he gets to fish Canyon Lake, one of these lakes that is private. You have to have a tag. It's legal to fish, but you have to be part of that community or get permission. And we had a big discussion. And I said, Hunter, you catch 2 fish there. The third one, you can't, because that's a private lake, because I can't show up, even if I'm walking along the shoreline. I cannot myself fish the lake unless I have a pass or a permit. I have to have. So that is a true private lake. So any body of water that your 5 buddies can just show up and go fishing and not get booted out for trespassing, or you have to have permission. Now, if you have permission, you're allowed to fish it. If you're going and fishing a private lake with no permission, and then I get a hold of the owner, and I go, hey, did the kid ask you for permission? And they go, no. Oh, that's a big ding.
No problem, right?
Yeah, there's going to be a problem. So it's really common sense. And I hope the parents and the kids listen to me on this part. There's truly is no gray area. The people who try to make more gray areas are trying to figure out ways to buck the system.
Right.
If you can fish it and anybody could go and fish it, it's public. If you have to have permission, it's private. It's that simple. And then if you guys have questions, you could get a hold of me. But there are some. You're eating something else, aren't you? I want to get to that. Let's get to the other stuff. Let's talk about catching big fish.
Well, no, let's talk about this first, because I'm dying to know the answer to this. Obviously, Mark Dorn knows you fairly well.
Mark is he's the dad of Carter Dorn. He's just a true gentleman. Yeah. I would like to talk about the best. Okay, I think I have a horrible mustache, and I want to tell you guys something. I don't know what percentage. I must have part Indian or something, because I've been working on this for about 3 weeks, and I've only shaved and trimmed my beard in the fire department for 32 years, probably 18, 19 times. If I shave this off, I will go to my grave with probably 1 hair. I mean, it just, so this is all I got. This is all I got. And,
you get the ding then. You get the ding. I mean, it's no doubt about it. There you go.
Thanks, Mark.
Oh, Lord. Carter had to chime in on this one, too.
Seth Fireman has. Okay, wait. Seth has hair. He has the most ultimate mullet. Like, I have no mullet. I have a skullet. You know, I have nothing on my head. So,
I think you have to. You know, there are a lot of good ones out there, right? Lintner's probably got the Magnum PI mustache of all time, right?
Dude, he is. We went and did a show with him over there in Lintner. Lintner has. They compared. His is just. He's Magnum PI. He's just. There's no curl. There's no color. They're just. It's a work of art.
Intimidating.
Oh yeah.
And then Shaw's got a good one, right? Shaw's got a good one.
Oh yeah.
I still have to give it to you because the amount of effort that it took to grow it. I mean, so you still win. I mean,
and you gotta, this is a fireman mustache. This is part of when you go into big smoky stuff. It helps with the filter a little bit. So that's the big thing on that.
All right, so we got another question here from Colton Hubbard.
Okay, what lakes have you caught better quality of fish on? This is what I love. Okay, this is what we've always talked about, Ricky, when we talk big fish. Every lake has the potential of big fish. And I want to throw some stuff out there. Anybody that says you have to catch a 10-pounder for a trophy is completely off his rocker. It's all location. If you live in Maine, a big fish could be 4 pounds, like a trophy. You know, you live in California, yeah, 10 pounder is the mark. A lot has changed in the last 5 to 10 years. 2005 was the last year I got to fish Casitas. I haven't seen a 10-pound fish come out of Lake Casitas in probably about 10 or 11 years. So with change of forage, with trout plants, forage, what they have, the environment, how lakes do their cycles. The biggest thing is you always want to look at history of the lake. If the lake has northern or Florida strain or even northern strain bass, what kind of forage? The bigger the forage, salmon, smelt, trout, big crawdads, a big population of bluegill or shad, there's going to be bigger fish in that lake. And then what you want to do is you want to take as much dock talk as you can to find key locations. And then you want to start thinking outside the box and start targeting bigger fish with bigger baits. It comes down to that to learn quicker. Once you find the areas, I could find them with a 12-inch swim bait, and they might not eat it, but I'm going to see the biggest fish in that body of water, especially with the clarity of water. That all depends, and those are all factors you got to bring into it. But I might go back, and this is what Ricky saw me do up in Lanier, is I showed up that one day, and Aaron Martins and everybody says I pulled out the big 6-inch BBZ swim baits, and everybody says, they said, oh, you can't catch spots on that. And I went out my first day just and I had one over 6.5 pounds. But as the day went on, I found the areas. What do? We go back and we throw an 1/8 ounce fat fly, and we caught the fish. So finding the areas and then targeting them and then understanding how to break down the water column is the key in catching bigger fish.
Lake Austin used to be amazing. Where is that at, Lake Austin?
That, I don't know. And so you guys know, I've been a full-time fireman my whole life. I've been fortunate to do a lot of shows. So I've opened up Bass Pro Shop and did stuff for Spro for years in Florida, but I didn't get to fish a lot of waters. So a lot of these waters these kids are fishing nowadays, Ricky, they're fishing more fishable, different bodies of water than I have in my entire life. So kudos to the kids on that part.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out where this lake's at because I'm going to be in Austin next week for the Bass Pro Tour event. I think they're fishing. I don't even know what lake it is. That's terrible, isn't it? They just all start to run together. But
we don't fish it, Ricky. We work behind the scenes.
That's right. That's right. The quickest way to quit fishing is to get in the fishing business. I feel like. But you know what, man, Bill, I have no complaints. It's been a good deal for me, a good life for my family, and and I've met some of my best friends in the world. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Fishing has that way. It breaks down a lot of barriers and walls.
When is the
BBZ Glide coming? Well, I would love to have the BBZ Glide. We're gonna see if somebody wants to come. I have a lot of drawings and stuff, Carter, in the works. I have a lot of stuff sitting in the back pocket. Ricky knows that from doing all the ICAST shows. I still have my box of secrets. So it just depends if a company wants to get together and bring something out a little bit more cutting edge and knock things out of the water. I'm open to any offers to bring something out to help anglers catch bigger fish.
Yeah, so there we go. I got the answer to that I wanted. So Lake Austin
is a small lake that used to have a lot of grass that was great for trophy bass. Unite tournament would need 3 to 5. Right there, that tells you everything, that those fish don't go anywhere. And as long as that forage is still there, Hadley, those big fish are still there. You just got to understand how to break down the water column. There's a lot of videos on YouTube, but if you watch the BBZ TV, I do some crazy stuff on how to break down waters and target bigger fish. And also the book Mike Jones and I wrote. There's a lot in that book that kind of changes your thought process on how to think outside the box. But a lake right there that has 5 stars, that 35 pound, there's going to be a lot of 7-pound fish in that lake. So that means there's probably 10-pound fish in that lake. And it's just people aren't really truly fishing for them. So that's time on the water. That's what this tournament's about, getting out there and breaking down lakes and fishing.
Gotcha. And Will, if you want to send me a message over on the bass365.com Facebook page, I think I get to Austin next Tuesday. Send me a message. Maybe we can get together at one of the weigh-ins or something. Maybe you never know. I might be able to find a ride and reel.
I think he'll have one ready for you.
Yeah, that would be awesome too. So let's see. Joshua Butler wants you to come fish the Columbia River, which I hear that's a beautiful place, right?
So big shout out to Joshua. So he's been in the tournament for the last few years. He won in 2019, came to the big show up there in Idaho. Last year he got beat out, but this year he's putting sacks of fish together. I love the Columbia River. Back when we fished Bassmasters, I did a lot of traveling from Columbia River all the way down to Elephant Butte, New Mexico when we fished the Pro and Pro down here in the West Coast. So love that place. Has monster smallmouth. I remember my 5-pound test line and my little Lucky Craft 78 ripping it out there for the big smallies. And Steve Price was there during the tournament. And I thought I had the world record smallie on and it was my last lure that was catching fish until I bought a 25-pound salmon and during the tournament. And I had to fight the salmon because that was my last lure that was catching fish. And it took me forever with 5-pound tests running up and down the river. So love the Columbia. That's a great fishery.
So then Colton wanted to know if you talked to David Williams, his dad. I think that may be a question for me. And Colton, I do know David. I will try to get him on a show. I think they're getting ready to fire up somewhere in Texas for the elites this week. So it may be a struggle, but if you just stay in contact with me and keep reminding me, I'll definitely have David on. He's a good dude. I'd love to have him on as a guest. Yeah, Bill, we've been doing this show twice a week since January, and awesome. Now that tournament season is kicked off, it has become a little difficult. After a day of shooting on the water and trying to round these guys up to do something. And this week we got, if I'm right, I think we got 3 tournaments going on. We got the Pro Circuit event, we got the Elites starting up Thursday, and then we got the National Professional Fishing League starting up on Thursday. So it's going to be so much live fishing to watch. We might all be sick of it, but that won't happen by the end of the week.
It's better than the drama documents on TV.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's like Warren County or something.
Well, look, man, we're pushing an hour here, and I usually try to keep it at an hour.
Yeah, I want to definitely give out shout outs again because it's such a big deal. They mean so much to this tournament. Huge shout out, like I said, to Bass Cat for being the title sponsor this year for the next couple of years and donating, Margay boats. Next year, I think it's going to be the Bobcat. Bassmasters for presenting. We have Mercury, Tackle Direct, Motor Guide, Power Pole, Lowrance, St. Croix, Bethel University, Chad Hoover at KBF, Bucket Mounts Brands, and definitely Billy Chapman, Anglers Inn. I mean, he brought a lot to this tournament and helped it along the way. And then all the other sponsors. I mean, there's so many state sponsors. So if I could throw this out there, we don't have a lot of employees over here doing what we're trying to do. The biggest thing is I want to try to give back as much as I can to the youth, but we're lucky enough to have Jim Grossi with Let's Go Fishing Production. It's a 501c3. The last couple of years, they're willing to help with this event. So if you know a sponsor that would love to donate just $2,000 and it goes to a tax write-off. So they get a tax write-off for their company. All that money sits in the account. And then what we do is we put those sponsors to states, like say Virginia's still open. So it could be something even with Missile Baits or John Cruz or something. They pick up that money will go there. The angler that wins for Virginia, it helps cover the cost for the food, the travel, the trophies, the expenses. And then anything left over, I'm trying to take that like I did last year. Last year, I was fortunate enough that I gave back $36,000. We have nobody for West Virginia right now, buddy. Last year we had Bethel University, the Gary Mason for the Legends of the Outdoors picked up West Virginia, and Fogarty was the state winner. But yeah, we're looking for sponsors like that. But what that does is helps it. And then in return, if you watch the show, I was able to work together with Josh Miller from Miller Media. We filmed this last year. We produced a show. So all the stuff you're doing, we're doing the same thing. And it's up on the BBZ World. If you go to videos, you can watch last year's show and watch the kids and behind the scenes. You can watch Carter Dorn win the tournament and get in the Bass Cat and Bass Masters and lifting the bass trophies online. Ross making bitchin' trophies, and Vance over at Line Cutters has a diamond ring, like a championship diamond ring.
Oh, wow.
For the champion, and he's doing it again this year. So, like I said, there's so many awesome sponsors that are participating, big and small, but the financial part, that would help a lot, because crazy enough, coming from Idaho to Missouri, which I found out it's 33% more, which taxes and gratuity. So I'm trying to scrape the money so I could make sure I bring a show of all shows to the kids and make everybody happy. So if anybody knows a sponsor from the state or any type of donation, it goes all back to the kids in the event, and that would help me a lot.
And it doesn't have to be a fishing related company, right? It could
be no, it's
company,
like Marucci sunglasses.
Right.
Down there at Louisiana, they jump. I mean, incredible. They're Major League Baseball. I mean, these glasses.
Right.
The owner, Michael, he fishes, and they have these unbelievable Zeiss lens things. He calls me up and goes, "Hey, Bill, we got Louisiana, and we're also going to give sunglasses to all the anglers. 54 sunglasses. They're 150 plus bucks a piece. So their product and stuff. So they're in fishing, but they're not. We have definitely, like Rattle Trap picked up a Georgia power pole for Florida. We have In the Line of Fire, which is a real estate place in Idaho that takes care of the fire, police, military for buying new. They jumped on for Idaho. So AFCO for California. I only have about 15 states. I'm missing only 30. I'll get it done.
30, but you got a long ways to go.
I promise everybody, I will find time. I will make this happen. Yeah. But yeah, that would relieve me. Maybe I don't have to take so many nitro for the heart palpitations. But we're gonna make this happen. We're gonna have a fun time this year.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to help out as well, Bill. Colton's got another question here. I don't know what your experience is with it, but I'll let you take a shot at it.
No, and here's the weird thing. I just did an article with Mike Jones from Bassmasters. Mike and I go way back. We wrote the book together. Mike was out with me fishing early 2000, 2005, and I put him in the boat to show him what I do for catching big fish. And I showed him how I break down the water column, top, middle, bottom, and everything else, and suspended fish. Everything that you guys are seeing now with the live scope, the 360, True Vision, that's all the stuff I've been fortunate enough to see for years in clear water, and I understand it. Everything works. And what you're going to be able to see now with this new technology is the stuff that I've been able to paint in my head for years, understanding how swim baits come through the water column on a pendulum, through top, middle, bottom, and back up, directional changes, what you have to do to flare a bait or a rig to get a fish to either, blow apart a school of shad and then have the fish come through and take your A-rig. All these tools are unbelievable. I would just say be very cautious that a lot of times watching fish in their environment, if it's a place where they're going to sleep or be dormant or relax, is a totally different place of where they feed and eat. So you got to be able to really look at any type of visual clues, come sun, shadows, electronics, the fish themselves, understand where they relax and understand where they feed. And I'll go back to the old school. Remember underwater cameras, the Atlantis underwater cameras back in the day? That was their pro staff. What you find out is you spent half the day looking at fish down on the screen going, oh, look how cool that is. Like, oh, look at, that's awesome. And you never caught a fish. And then the guy behind your boat says, why don't you fish? And he throws up on the rock pile and he's catching fish left and right.
Right.
There's two things going on. And
you get carried away with it, right?
You get carried away with it. So use it to help you increase your knowledge of what fish do on their feeding, their activity, their dormant states. And then don't get locked in it too much to lose the aspect of being able to use this, your eyes, your ears, and your brains, because we're no different. We are the same predator as a big fish. And if you start looking through the eyes of the fish, you're not going to need that scope. That scope's going to make a lot of people better, But the anglers that could see through the eyes of the fish, they don't need to use anything, and they're still going to be able to catch big fish. So there's a catch-22 I'll just throw out there. That's a whole behind the scene BBZ theory.
Yeah, what do you call that? You call that a vision. Colton, I'll tell you, with my limited experience with the active target than the Garmin Live Scope, I think that the advantages I see with it are finding a brush pile where before, maybe with, especially in these southern muddy waters. I think you said you're Kentucky Lake and Barkley. If you take 10 casts to find that brush pile, the guy with the active target or the live scope is going to pull up. He's going to see the brush pile. He's going to know where the fish is on the brush pile and be able to make that cast. But you can also get caught up in, there's one there, and you just spend way too much time trying to catch that fish. And my experience is limited. I'm around the right guys all the time that use it, so I hear what they say, and that's the big part of it. The other side of it is knowing what you're looking at, and I think the only thing there is just experience on the water. And Colton had another question, and
why at the bald band
Berkeley flatworms or the Maxent and MLF. Colton, they didn't. That was an April Fool's joke, and they really got you, bro. But it got me too. It got a lot of the anglers on. I don't know if you saw the video, but Justin Lucas was heated.
Oh my God, that's absolutely epic. That would be saying you can't.
Did you see it? Did you see it, Bill?
No, you know what? To tell you the truth, I try to stay off social media because I know there's so much fake.
You need to go find that one and watch it, because they pulled like I can't even remember the anglers they had on there, but Skeet and Justin Lucas are ones that jumped, Josh Bertrand. I can't remember exactly, but they made an announcement that the Maxent worked so good that
it's like
they were going to ban it. You couldn't use it anymore. And man, those guys swole up like you wouldn't believe. I have to try to find that commercial and get permission to post it over on Bass 365. But it was epic, and it just so happened we had a tournament the next week. So of course, I was on them. I was on them about it. I was like, "Yeah, ban that Maxent." And Justin was like, "Man, they got me good." So it was one of the best April Fool's jokes I've ever seen.
So here's a good thing for you, Colton. Don't always believe what you see or read. Make sure you think for yourself. And that's what this fishing is all about. Everything is like a layered onion in life and in politics and fishing and all this other stuff. You got to be able to think for yourself and don't get caught up with the malarkey because
I'm not gonna lie to you, Bill. It got me at first. I was like, well, that figures. That's about right. Because that Maxent is some fish catching stuff, dude. It really is. It's we thought, like last year when they started using it a lot, the smallmouth were just going crazy on it. But kind of behind the scenes, so many guys are using it for largemouth now and not saying anything about it. So we got one more question we got to take, and it's Will again. And I think it's a good one. If you catch fish on a lake with a slot limit, can you enter that fish?
Pretty much, if you could catch it, and as long as a lot of the rules, you got to understand the rules for your state and the lake. If you can catch a fish and you do not put it in the live well, you don't keep it in like a system that you can catch and release it. This system, this online system we're doing for the Big Bass Junior Championship, it's a catch and release. Basically, you catch the fish, you're taking a length and girth photo. If you have a catch board, which everybody's using now, it's official. It makes it super easy. The fish is out of the water for probably less than a minute, and you put it back in. So you're not holding that fish. You're not going to keep the fish. You're just taking a picture and setting to go. If the rules allow that in your state, absolutely. If you're in a place where you're not allowed to, if it says, hey, if this is a slot limit fish, you cannot hold on to the fish, you can't take pictures of it, you can't do anything, then you got to be guided by the rules of your state and local waters.
Right. Super. I would say for the most part, any slot limit lake, without going state by state, you should be all right. I've never heard of one that wouldn't let you take a picture of the fish if you caught it.
And that's why what we try to do on what we're doing with the BBZ.
Right. And I think that, another thing that we haven't talked about, and we're just going to talk about it real quickly, is how by what you're doing with the catch, measure, photograph, release, it's saving the resource. You're not hauling the fish around in a live well all day. By catching them, putting them right back, it's doing a lot for the resource.
It is, and like I said, and what we're doing is when we're trying to refine it. Like I said, I got to give a lot of credit real quick to Chad Hoover and get me set up with this like catch board and what a lot of people are already doing for online tournaments for length. This catch board and the ruler and all the stuff we're doing is we're trying to keep minimum time out of the water, get a couple quick photos, have a kid enter a really cool tournament, and put that resource back. And what it's teaching it's really teaching these kids fish management.
Right, for sure.
And the really cool thing is when they're able to go back and catch those fish again, which through the years, I've had some big fish. I've caught one year and it was a 12-pounder, and 4 years later I caught her again. She was almost 9.5. She was getting older, but I was like, man, I let that fish go. And I know I have the same photo of her when she was in her prime, and now she's a little elderly like us, wearing glasses, swimming down. But she got to go and swim away again. So it's all for a good cause.
All right. So we got 2 more questions. I think it's from Colton again. He wanted to know what kind of boat do you ride in?
I literally, for me fishing BASS and when we did Pro and Pro, I've been in every boat out there. I literally have. Everything's awesome. It truly is. But I got a Bass Cat when I won the invitationals at Norfolk. We fished against like 800 teams, and I bought my first Bass Cat, and I've been in a Bass Cat for over 20 years. And their reliability and the lifetime warranty and what they put in that product. And I have a bad back. And for whatever reason, Rick and his dad, Ron, they put some magic mojo in some of these cats where when I'm in big water, it just doesn't blow my spine up through my neck and my brainstem. Right. So I'm very pleased with the Bass Cat. I've been a long time driver supporter, love the brand. And if I had to go buy if I had all the money in the world again today to go buy a boat, I'd buy a Bass Cat because I know they're going to last and they're going to take care of us. Something goes wrong, they take care of us. So Bass Cat.
Rick's an awesome human being, that's for sure.
Truly.
And, Colton, as for myself, I'm running a VX20 Vexus this year, and it's the finest boat I've ever been in. The guys from Ranger are building them, and I think that they're back in the day. There were a few custom boats, Bass Cat being one of them, Ranger being one of them. Who else? I think Champion. At the time back in the day, they were like the high level boats, and the guys at Vexus have just taken that original Ranger quality and turned it into a Vexus and modernized it a little bit. Colton also said that I guess that we should try to ride in the Falcon F20, which I have. Anthony Gagliardi is on their pro staff. He runs the Falcon. That's a bad boat. I don't know if you've seen them, Bill, but they're the most unique rod box concept where instead of opening to the side, they open to the front. So you can stand on the outside of the boat and get your rods and stuff out. That's just one of the features that I do love about a Falcon. Great boats. I don't know that there's anything out there now that's not good.
And that's where it comes down to. So guys, everybody's going to have, it's you don't want to say just loyalty or anything else. It's what you're comfortable with. And the cool thing is what Ricky's been talking about 20, 30 years ago, there's only a handful of stuff in technology and things were being built. Everything nowadays, it doesn't matter what you can afford or you can get into. Right. All this stuff is such good quality, and it comes down to just personal preference. And you got to find out, no matter what company you go with, Vexus, Bass Cat, Falcon, it's the family behind that boat that you always know when you run out of gas on a end of a road at midnight and you need to call somebody to get help. You just want to make sure that when you call the other end of that line, they're there to help you. And you're probably going to see this in multiple companies now. Like when you need help, if something happens, they're going to take care of you. And that's the only thing I would look at. The product is so good across the board. It's who's behind the product that you want to start really paying attention to.
I agree 100%, Bill. All right, let's close this thing down. But first, tell us where people can find out more about what you got going on?
Go to the bbzworld.com, click on videos, and watch last year's video that Josh Miller and I produced. And it's going to give you an overview of what everything's been going on and what the kids got and what the whole thing's about. You could click a button there that goes right to the Fishing Chaos app and sign up for $28 or $53 for a state or all 50 states. You get a year subscription to Bassmaster Magazine. My phone number is there. Anybody that needs help, they know they can reach out to me, and I'll help you walk you through the system. And the biggest thing is just get out there, start catching fish. You need a soft ruler. I don't know if I have one. You're going to get a soft ruler. And if you have a catch board, you can use a catch board. And the photos, basically you print out an ID, Ricky. You sign up, you print out an ID, you throw that in the length and girth photos, and you take a selfie and you send it in, and you watch your limit grow on the app. It's really cool.
So is it the same photo ID or the ID deal? Is that different for each fish or?
No. So what we have is the Fishing Chaos. A really cool thing is the system now. It's all based on individual emails and the angle. So every time they take a photo through their camera, which is made, I get a 80-digit code. The back end on this stuff is really way above my pay grade. But what they do is they put a card in there, and what it has is an identifier number. So it's going to be the BBZ JC21.
Right.
We know that any fish caught this year with the length and girth is only good for this year. They're not going to recycle that fish. So you just print out a little card. I made one that's like a 3x4, like a credit card. You put it in each of the length and girth photos. You do a nice selfie picture that gives you the shout out to Daiwa or St. Croix, or whoever's part of it. And you submit the fish. And it's that simple. And then next year we're going to change the card. So anybody sneaky out there, I'm going to catch you. So don't think I'm watching. I look at every photo, and we've had 600 entries already for fish right now.
Wow.
We still have 4 months, 600 in the whole Northeast and Northwest, and the North part is not even really fishing. And I've already went through, I think, 1,500 photos.
Wow, you're gonna get, I bet you have a bunch more by the end of this coming weekend.
Oh, they're coming in by droves now. But I'm hardcore. So
that's right.
When you get on the website, the BBZ World, the first thing is go to Rules and Docs, look at the angler checklist, and it gives a basics on how to do length and girth. And then go over the rules and read the rules. Because I can't tell you how many people, Ricky, do not read rules, do not open emails, and and then like, when did you say this? 4 months ago? So do me a favor, that would help me a lot. And then go out and have fun. Knock this thing out of the park.
Let's do it, Bill. I'm excited. So I got a little bit of housekeeping to do, and then we'll shut this thing down. Guys, if you don't know, it's bass365.com. Facebook is bass365.com. We're in the App Store, Bass365 Live. I think we're the only independent media outlet with our own app. So it's well worth having. We put a lot of time and work on it. You can stream these live shows straight to your phone through the app. I certainly appreciate everybody that checked in tonight and watching. Bill, we'll do this again real soon.
Let's talk fish. We talk fish.
We need to do that too. We absolutely need to do that. I'm excited to see where this goes and to hopefully be able to be a part of it and help you grow it to where you want it to be.
I appreciate that. And I can't wait to see some of the photos of your kids. When you better take good photos.
Ah, shoot. They're going to be on their own.
I'm going to hammer you if the photos come out. You should know better.
All right, brother. Hey, it was nice doing this with you. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. You guys have a good day and be safe out on the water.